Good afternoon. I'm David Kramer at the National Weather Service with Alaska statewide weather. Starting off for the remainder of the day, our main low pressure system is really starting to occlude now, bringing rain to areas of the eastern Aleutian Islands, stretching into areas around Kodiak and up in the Bristol Bay area. Some of that rain also making it to eastern parts of the Kenai Peninsula and other parts of western Prince William Sound. Up along the western coast, in the northern parts of the YK Delta, some rain up there as well, and then kind of dropping off until we get to north of the Kotzebue Sound, where rain and fog are starting to pick up and stretch up into the Barrow area, and then just some fog to the east along the Arctic coast. Rest of the interior should be pretty clear and dry for the rest of the afternoon, and that will stretch down into parts of the Panhandle. However, there is some fog starting to make its way to parts of the southern Panhandle. Way out to the west, another low-pressure system with a frontal system is bringing some rain closer to the western Aleutian Islands, but that will not make it there until tonight, when rain and fog will stretch from the western Aleutian Islands through the eastern Aleutian Islands, dropping off the fog but keeping the rain for the Alaska Peninsula, stretching up to the Bristol Bay area, into the south-central part of the state, and along the Gulf Coast until around the Yakutat area, picking up some fog once again. For the rest of the Panhandle, not a whole lot in terms of precipitation, but there will be some fog spreading into southern parts of the Panhandle overnight. Into the interior, eastern parts should be pretty clear and dry. However, as we get along the west coast, stretching up from the YK Delta all the way up the coastline, rain and fog expected, especially out closer to the water with that fog, and then fog along the Arctic coast. Into Wednesday, fog will remain along the Arctic coast with a chance of thunderstorms as we get to eastern parts of the Brooks Range, and then down into the interior, not a whole lot in terms of precipitation. Along the west coast, once again, rain and fog as we get further out along the coastline in places around the Seward Peninsula, and then down in the YK Delta and Bristol Bay areas, rain throughout those areas, stretching down through all of the Aleutian Islands and along the Gulf Coast, stretching into the south central and areas around Prince William Sound, and then fog once again along the Panhandle area. Into Thursday, rain will be in the Panhandle, and that will stretch all the way along the Gulf Coast, including the south central Bristol Bay areas, and then down into the Aleutian Islands through the central Aleutian Islands. Into the YK Delta, continuing up the west coast, rain stretching all the way from the YK Delta up along the coastline to the Point Hope area, not quite making it up to Barrow, where we're going to see clear skies out there, stretching along the rest of the Arctic coast and down into most of the places of the eastern interior. Way out to the west, another high pressure is making its way to the western Aleutian Islands, keeping precipitation out of that area. With Alaska statewide weather, I'm David Kramer.